I'm Steve, and welcome back to City Skylines, where we're building Lost Heaven. Now, last time we pretty much went about and made sure that our infrastructures and everything else were doing pretty well for us. We have a good income, we have a whole new area of land up here, and that is going to be the main point that I'm going to have in this episode. We're going to discover the profits of running a cargo train station and all the other benefits that can come with all the unlocked stuff that we have. I'm also planning on building a metro, whether that will happen in this episode or the next. That depends on our time and everything. So for now, I'm going to get started. In fact, one thing that I want to do is that since our city has grown so much, I think it's important for us to lay down probably another incinerator and make sure that, actually they have water there, so that's all set, so that our trash doesn't build up too much. Now, when it comes to roads and such, the very first start, as it was before, is to extend our way into the city on this side, and then stretch back the other way and connect. So that starts out our new section of the city. What we're going to end up doing is building, the same types of ramps and, overlapping roads, overpasses, everything else that we've built so far that worked great for our city. So I'm going to unpause it because we're going to want the income to, keep flowing in. That way, no matter, what we are building over here, the new infrastructure, the new roads, everything else, we have an income flowing in from our old section of the city. The old section that we don't have to keep a constant, like, eagle-eye view on. And that's an important thing. That's why I went about making sure that part of the city was well taken care of. Everything was set up correctly. All my ducks were in a row, so to speak. So I'd also like to thank anybody who's watching to stick through. I've been tweaking audio, video, all that good stuff. Also, if you haven't noticed, I have a Europa Universalis 4 game, a multiplayer game with my friend the Pipton. We play on his stream, which is linked in the descriptions of those episodes. And I am daily uploading pieces of that campaign over and over. I'm playing the Papal State and he's playing Brunswick. It's a really fun and interesting one because we're trying to make sure that we can expand within the Holy Roman Empire as smaller nations, and that can be a tall order sometimes. But why don't you go? You can check it out, see if you like it, see if you like our repartee, and if you want, follow it up. I got a nice playlist for both this and for Europa up and running, so you can just follow that and see what you like. On top of that, I'd also like some feedback. What games would you guys like to see? I'm really interested in knowing what exactly the viewers want to see me play. On top of that, I also have a few specific ones that I am planning on doing, series on. One of which, probably going to be the next big series I do, is Mount & Blade Warband. However, I love all the mods that they do. Mount & Blade Warband, by far, has one of the most dedicated and talented modding communities. I mean, City Skylines here, I've seen a great modding community for them and everything, but for years I have followed some of the big mods on, Mount & Blade Warband. It's brilliant. Uh, they have Clash of Kings, which is one of my personal favorites, of course, because it brings you into the Game of Thrones universe, a show that, I am very much a fan of. But regardless of that, they also have stuff like Gecko Kujo, which brings you into the Sengoku Jita era of Japan, which is just, it's amazing the amount of overhaul that goes into some of these mods. Because in Gecko Kujo and Clash of Kings, they redo the entire map, like literally from the ground up. Cities, the weapons and other assorted items, missions from all the different characters inside are modified and customized and everything else, and it's impressive. It really is impressive. Now right here we're going to start making a few more overpasses this direction, since if we don't, each side of the city is going to inundate the highway, and it's just going to become a major cluster. One that I am not going to be able to, well, I probably could figure a way to make it work, but I'd rather do this. This is a preemptive way of making it work. So, what we're gonna have is a nice system where the old and the new city are connected both by the highway and by these overpasses. Because one of the big things is that there is going to be a lot, and when I say a lot, I mean a lot of traffic when I build the cargo train station. And that's going to be hard for the highways to handle, at least initially, because there is just a constant flow. There's a non-stop flow of traffic going in and out of those train stations. It's just an inevitability, but it's also required. It's a needed thing for a city to grow and prosper and make a profit, above all else. So that is one of the things that we're going to make sure that we are ready for, by making sure that all these roads and infrastructure are built in order to handle it. And a lot of these can be upgraded as well, and therefore if we see, a little bit of a problem, we're going to be able to nip it in the bud. We'll be able to, just finish it off before it gets out of hand. And that's my basic plan, at least. Now, also, I gotta point out that these pre-done intersections here, they're great. They look beautiful and all, but they're not optimal when you want to grow your city. They have a lot of work to do. So, what you want to do usually is have them as a baseline and then work off of it. Like, when one of my cities got too big and I had an intersection, you cut out some of these roads because you can't upgrade this section because it's too close to this other section. So you erase some of this, and you relay it so that, you can upgrade and have that at the same time. It doesn't look as pretty, I'll give you that, but, if you want your city to work, everything can't be hunky-dory pretty. So now that all those roads are laid out, we have the very, very bare-knuckle basics of what this new section of the city is going to be laid out as. We're going to extend our water and our power lines over here. Now, the thing is that with this grid, I also have a plan. Now, what plan is that? If you want to know, that is what I'm here to tell you. The basics is industry and then commercial at the end here. And that's going to go up until it gets cut off and starts being residential with, you know, a line buffer of offices. And this side, it's going to start residential and then go up till we find the buffer and then commercial industrial. So it's basically a mirror in order to make sure that the level of residential and the jobs that the residential needs, and vice versa, the workers that the industrial and commercial needs, is balanced out. If I just built up in the same exact uniform, style, it would end up becoming a cluster. You'd have way too much of one at any time, and it would just not work. It wouldn't work at all in our city. And that's what I am endeavoring to avoid, honestly. Like I said, this city, I'm going to put a lot of work into it. I'm going to make sure that whatever comes out of it is something that we can actually be a bit proud of. For some reason that's not connecting at the same level as the other one. You know what? Whatever. It merges still. That's perfectly fine. And it doesn't look uniform, but there are slight differences in the lay of the land. I can't control that. Well, I could if before I even started this city, I went in and started, morphing the land to my needs. But it's more challenging in some ways. Not really, but it's more of you get in here and you deal with what you've been handed, you know? The deal you have been given. I don't feel like that's a bad thing. It means that I actually have to think about the different ways I'm going to plot out the land, and then if a problem happens with the layout, I just have to figure a way around it, and that's half the fun. So we're going to extend a power line from here across the highway. I'm gonna stretch it a little bit down into this, and on the other side we're doing pretty much the same, except it'll just stop right there. Now when we lay down our zoning, that's gonna basically just fill up and it'll already be powered, because some of the first zones you place, you put right next to the power lines. And then from there, it'll connect everything to the power grid. So we're gonna watch those build up a little bit. We're probably gonna want a little more industrial since there's such a high demand. And while that is going up, what we need right now is a few of the services. We're gonna need to place down some services. Fire is exceptionally important, especially when you're talking industrial. The police are mostly covered. However, I mean, we're gonna need a little more. Right now, I'm going to concentrate on the things that are not. They're more of an immediate thing. Dead bodies, they'll always exist. And so that's why we need something right there. As everything keeps building, I know that we're going to need that. And then I'm going to loop it right up to the cemetery. We're also going to need some... Actually, education's doing fairly decent. We're going to need new one once people... New schools once people start moving into this section of the city. But as of right now, I don't think that's the top priority per se. Now that is about half empty, and that's full. I think just to be cautious, I'm going to slap down another incinerator right here. Is that supplied with water? No, it's not. I need to just extend it just a wee bit, and we're good. It looks like this is all garbage truck traffic, but that's because we have only one way out of the garbage area. Oh, that's a one-way. So, we're going to want to set it up. Ooh, that did not... Ooh, there you go. That did not end up placing it the way I wanted it to. I'm going to extend this out. And then over. Yeah, that still didn't place it the way I wanted. But you know what? That's... Sorry guys. I'm a little weird about it. But we're going to extend it like that. And then it'll be perfectly how I wanted it. There you go. So all these trucks, it'll clean up the traffic right about here in a second. We can actually fast forward a little bit, since one, they're gonna need to learn that they have another entrance exit here, and two, because we want to watch this side of the city grow a little bit, see what will become of it. I'm not sure why the electricity hasn't hit here just yet. I think once this building is complete, it'll actually connect it up. I'm not sure though. It worked on the other side, so I'm not sure exactly why it is having so many troubles right here. I think we might actually have to loop it in there. Which I'm not looking forward to, because that's just an annoyance. A really big annoyance. Actually, somehow the cemetery has already become powered, so I think as it grows out just a wee bit more, might actually give it what it needs. So I mean, they can do without power for 2 seconds, honestly. The water, however, and how much power do we have? We're actually going to need a little bit more power supply, period, regardless of that connection. We're going to need a new supply of fresh water, which will drop right here and connect it up to our main line. And then we're going to need them to have a new place to take a dump, which is going to be right here. And yep, connected up to the line. So they're all set for that. The electricity's not going as hoped as much so. So yes, I'm gonna have to do this. Weird enough, this side pokes out a little more. So I'm honestly thinking, yeah, we can just connect it this way and have no problems. The demand for commercial has gone up a lot, and therefore, before I even put in more industrial, we're going to have this outcropping here, which will contain just a little more commercial than we had before. And since we have new workers, new, tenants over here at this point, they're going to get access to this brand new high school and elementary school, which I'm just going to place right next to each other. I think... What does that mean, even? No, I'm not... That's not the one I was talking about. Too few services. I think that because they're so separated, they might actually want a police station, period. And that's just, I mean, that's perfectly understandable, to be honest. So I'm going to place one here. and see if that solves their little problem. Nope. Yeah, they're gonna also need a new hospital. I'm going to place some crematoriums in this section of the city real quick. And then a brand spanking new hospital where we have plenty of room, which is right here. I'm not completely sure what services they want, to be honest. Because they have everything else, and these guys are leveling up. I'm pretty sure that we're just gonna learn over time. Oh, it disappeared. So that was what they wanted. They wanted just this side of the city to have access to all the old side of the city's stuff. Now it seems like a lot of people are coming into this new section. It's not a problem just yet, but I can see that maybe we're going to want a little bit of a difference in how that works. Seems that a lot of commercial. You know, I think our commercial and our industrial will have a drastic change. Whoa, yeah, I put that too high, didn't I? Are gonna have a pretty drastic change as soon as I place in the new cargo train station, which is what I'm gonna work on next. So once I place down this, let them do their thing, have them grow a little bit, fill in this last part here, and brilliant. Okay, so where I was thinking the best place to put a cargo train station would be right around here. Now, traffic is really rough for any cargo train station. I mean, it's ridiculous. It really is. And so, to fix this, one, I'm thinking we might want to actually have just an extension of the highway itself, not even just a single one lane. We're actually going to want the highway itself to be part of this whole situation. Wait. I'm making a mistake right there. Because we can't have any buildings next to the highway. Yeah. But I can upgrade the on and off ramps. That is one thing that I can do. So I'm thinking that what we need is, yes, what I was trying to do before, but we stop it here. We turn it into one of the bigger laned roads that are one way, and then get it back here. I'm thinking that might actually work pretty well. So on top of this situation, we're also going to need to have it go up a little bit. So over this way, and come on, work with me here. And merge back like that. And from this side, we're gonna have it come up. Come on. Over. And down. And merge up. And this way, we're going to have some very heavy traffic wielding roads that are all going to be taking care of our train station. Which, trust me, like I said, I've laid these things down before. They're gonna need it. It needs this amount of traffic. You know, we need to control it like that. So the next thing we do is we're gonna have to create the rails. Now the rails bend like this because a rail has both directions at any one time. A train can come in any direction. However, one thing that I've learned you really want is to be able to have it like this. You need two entrances. Because if there's only one way for them to come in and out, then they're going to have to make more of a turn. Like, if they're coming from one direction, like the opposite direction of the curve, they're going to have to make this turn. You can have a block up when there's a lot of trains going in and out, which nobody wants. If you do this, they just simply merge onto the tracks, and it's pretty brilliant. Eventually, you might be, you know, it's possible to have a little bit of a backup. But by that time, hopefully you have multiple stations. And at that point, you know, the backup's not going to really happen. So even here, we're going to have this set up in a similar way so that the trains merge. And that is a beautiful bridge right there. Just imagine all the trains sailing across here, over the water, into the wild blue of this lake. It's a pretty sight. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. This game has some very beautiful sights that I could stare at for a long time. I'll tell you that. One of which is the crazy trains just going over these vast distances and making amazing bridges and, you know, waterways and everything else out of this game's tools. And I think that's another reason why people truly like it. As you can see, I just created this thing, and people are pouring in huge numbers. It's ridiculous. It's probably a very good idea that I made these on and, you know, off ramps here as highways. However, I'm thinking that we may see a little bit of traffic pick up, like heavy duty, around here, and that might be a problem. Yeah, it's kind of starting to look like we may. Down here is still fine, but it's up here where all this truck traffic from the cargo train terminal is making it a little bit bigger. That, for some reason, they say they need land value. Actually, let me check quick. Schools are doing well. Okay, we're good there. We're good. Ooh, the trash. No, trash is getting picked up. Never mind. Let's turn this back on since it's emptied out into the incinerators. What are we gonna do about this section of the city directly? What we're gonna do is we're gonna upgrade some of these roads. Some of them can, some of them can't be upgraded. It seems because of some of the curves, which, you know, admittedly. Ooh. Oop. There we go. I could upgrade that into highway, which makes it, I mean, it's only one way, fair enough. But I'm thinking that anybody who needs to get over here is going to be able to deal with it. Over here, the industrial section, everything else, those are the people who are going to get the huge trucks coming in. You know, those industrial trucks. They're the ones who are going to need that one-way overpass. It's going to be probably one of the only overpasses in my city that is like that. And it is becoming painfully clear that my worries about the traffic on this side have also come up. But, as I said, I can actually fix this fairly easily by modifying the creator's visions. So I take this, I'm gonna add in my own new version of my ramp here. If it will work, it should. It really should. Maybe I need a little... Yeah, I needed a little bit more distance for that to work. But these are the main problems here. People are coming in heavy duty off of here. And so what I need to do is take out these old versions right here. Oh, come on. Don't twist that way. Oh. I need to have it become more of a... Come on, work with me here. You made it curve that way. And I want it to curve that way too. I think first off, though, we're gonna need this tool, or it won't work out that way. Yeah, that's what I'm looking for. Give it there. Now we don't need it to curve, though. So I'm gonna go back to the straight tool. Yeah, it doesn't look pretty, granted. Does not look at all pretty. I'll give you that. But it's functional. Now, this is the busy part of the road right here. So if we upgrade that, that takes care of that. And then we reconnect this section. Let's see. Yeah, it is. That is not gonna work as well as I hoped. I'm not sure. It'll fit there. I think it'll fit there just fine, actually. So since that's coming down here, we're going to loop this up here. Oh, come on. Give me that loop. Give me the loop. There you go. Good. And then here. I think we've actually made it work. Now let's just get this going. Start it up. Maybe upgrade a few of these old roads in order to alleviate the pressures. But it seems already... I can't upgrade that into highway. I definitely can't. Upgrade that though. It seems that the pressures of the highway are actually getting there. Maybe since... You know what? Why not? This is all gonna be the heavy truck traffic. When we first come in, basically right here, heavy truck traffic, and over here, heavy truck traffic. And these are all, you know, the regular people, the normal, you know, people getting into their homes and jobs rather than, you know, getting all this traffic coming from the train station. And I'm pretty sure that we can actually mitigate this fairly well. I mean, this is backed up from before I started upgrading, okay? So, don't get too antsy here and call it a failed experiment. This is definitely getting busy. Right here. And so... I think this part is gonna need an upgrade as well. And look at that start flowing. We can actually, like, this one was actually constructed fairly well by the creators in regards to being able to upgrade. However, right there, you know, they're squeezed together a little bit, so I can't really do that. But there is just so much traffic coming out of here. We may want to have on and off ramps here again. However, these are just going to clog up the first one, as we can see, say right here. Either way, I believe that we are going to leave that as is for now. And see how much it gets fixed by the upgrades I did. Woof. Woof. Yeah, this is gonna be complicated to fix. I'll be able to do it, but those cargo train terminals are killer. So I'm gonna pause right here. Now, all the new sections of the city, everything else, I'm wondering what your opinions are on them. What would you name them? Shout out names in the comments below. But as always, would you kindly subscribe if you could, like if you would. I'll see you next time on City Skylines.